Good night. Good night. Good night. This is the 11th day of September 2024. And I just want to just say a special word and send love to those who lost loved ones and whose lives were impacted so many years ago. It seems like yesterday to me. Um, as I've helped people who have suffered loss, and I myself um, suffered loss and actually had a loved one whose birthday would have been today as well. So I'm just sending a word of comfort, a word of peace, a word to say, stand resilient, be love, and be light. And let's do all of us do our part to bring about peace, right? It's on the Gregorian calendar, 2024. And low level energy and people trying to suck your energy like vampires. We're not having that, okay? We're gonna be light. So I want to share something with you today on my journey to freedom, to redemption of my estate. And I just want to share something with you. I put my birth certificate, the certificate of live birth. I put that on the county record a few weeks ago. I read in the Sedekv Trust Act that anyone who's holding that is considered a pauper. So, with trusts, this particular trust that is in the estate, the trust has a beneficial title and then the legal title. So many times people don't claim the beneficial ownership in that instrument. So it's like a coupon or a bill of lading. Okay. So I claim the beneficial ownership in it. And the county where I abode, I'm spending a lot of funds on mailing things. So I'm not really into experimenting too much. I sent it registered mail to her and made her responsible for it. Um, we'll see how that goes. Okay. Um, I have many things to put on the record. So that I did check to make sure that it was received, and I will follow up with learning where she put it on the record. But it was remitted back to the state, me claiming my beneficial title to it. Now, some people, they will authenticate the record. I've read it. Some of the reasons they say it's important to authenticate it. And I didn't come to the same understanding as some who feel it's important to authenticate that certificate of title. So it's not title. A title is the bundle of rights that come along with having control of something. That's title. Certificate of title is just that, it's a certificate that indicates the title. So in a sense, I've heard it be described as a bill of lading or just like a coupon. And so I turned mine in, right? I redeemed my coupon, right? Clearly it's a process, right? So the reason I didn't authenticate the one I had, well, I I had one authenticated on the state level, but that one was taken. I've spoken before about my challenges with having my belongings moved, rearranged, and that sort of thing. Something that I'm standing against, especially after the overturn of the Chevron deference case, right? Loper versus, Raymondo. Okay. So that means that all these administrative decisions are not constitutional, and we are going back to the Constitution. So we have God-given rights, and then they're protected by treaties and protected by various constitutions and various treaties. Okay, so the reason why it was out of convenience and necessity that I needed to turn this in right away. My safety is important to me, right? And it's expensive to have to replace something, and it'll take weeks and weeks to replace it, right? So I figured if it was meant to be that I had to have this authenticated, then it would be here. So I read some more, and I want to apply my understanding about jurisdiction to the situation. And so I will just share this. I know that when the certificate of live birth is authenticated, many people have it authenticated outside of the jurisdiction of the Hague Convention. All right. Why is that? I will share why they do that, and I will share my understanding about this. When they do that, they're having that particular certificate of live birth annexed, ANNEXED, annexed. Okay. So let's see. I think I am going to look up that word annex. I know exactly what an annex is. The reason I know is because I, in my younger years, worked in a medical research library on a military base, and they had annexes on the base. Yes. So let's see. Annex definition. An action of annexing something, especially a territory, the annexation of Austria. Okay. Annexation is the incorporation of the territory into the territory of another. Okay. Let me just show you that thing right there. Boom. Share screen. Okay, here we go. Annexation, the incorporation of one territory to the territory of another. So once I've seen some people share their annexed certificate of live birth. Okay, now let me move to this. Make sure I'm sharing the right thing. So, having worked in child welfare before across jurisdictions, what happens is there are interagency agreements between states. So let's say you have a tri-state area. You have state A and state B and state C. Now, state A, if you, let's say you're licensed, you within an area, you have a jurisdictional area that you are able to provide services in without a problem. Now, you can have the same level of license 3 or 4 states over. That doesn't have anything to do with the states that are in between these states. Let's say state E, right? Okay, state E doesn't have anything to do with the tri-state area. Now you have let's say you have a license in state A, and you have a child in state B. You must be licensed in jurisdiction A and B in order to provide services for the child. And there is going to be an interagency agreement between the two states. All right. So I wouldn't authenticate anything between those two states. There's already an agreement in place. Now, let's say I wanted to use my coupon to redeem some of the securities in state E, right? Now, state E doesn't know me. They don't know anything about me. They have not vetted me. We don't have the agency I'm licensed by does not have any kind of interagency agreement with their licensing agency. So what do? Well, we want to authenticate the record that I am who I say I am, that my credentials are what they are supposed to be, because we don't have an agreement, right? So that the coupon can be used in state E, we have to have state A authenticate the record. So this is what's happening. They're authenticating and they're annexing those securities so they can be used in state A. So that's why when people authenticate the record, the certificate of live birth, they're getting it annexed, and then a separate number goes on there. So you already have the number, the general number when it's first issued by the state that has legal title over the estate, right? With the powers of attorney and that sort of thing. Then there's beneficial ownership that maybe you've claimed, maybe you haven't claimed, right? If you don't know if you've claimed it or not, then you haven't claimed it. All right, that's beneficial ownership. Then you want to use it outside of, let's say, the outside of the U.S. Now, all the other states are in interagency agreements. All the U.S. states, the state of states, the state of Delaware, the state of New Jersey, the state of New York, the state of Alaska, they're in interagency agreements. These are nation states. So the U.S. corporate there's states of states, and then there's several states, and that, well, I shouldn't say, well, yeah, I would say the several states, the de jure territories as well, right? So we're talking three different jurisdictions there, just in one area. And then federal too, right? That overlay. So with that being said, this is how I come to the conclusion why it's not necessary to authenticate a birth or a certificate of live birth that is going to be used on the continental United States of America, whether it be the Republic or a state of state. Now, I'm not saying that I'm wrong. That I'm like 100% sure that I'm right. What I'm saying is I have not been presented any evidence to make me think that I need to annex a record that is being used on the continental United States of America. Okay, because even the origin of that issued record, the origin of it is from the information that was gathered by 3 witnesses on the United States of America land, jurisdiction. All right, at a foundling hospital. So let me see here. Let's read. There are multiple matches for the Hague Convention, including, I Googled it and this is what I got, right? Including Treaty on Child Abduction and another on inter-country adoption. So I'll go on. The Hague Convention on the Civil Aspects of International Child Abduction. This treaty helps parents recover their children who have been abducted internationally. It also addresses issues related to international child access. So, the Hague Convention on Children and Cooperation in Respect of Intercounty Adoption. See, this treaty, also known as the Hague Adoption Convention, Did you all know that? The Hague Adoption Convention has to do with child welfare. It protects the interests of children, birth parents, and adoptive parents in the inter-country adoptions. It establishes standards for these adoptions and creates a system of cooperation between countries that have signed the treaty. Now, I'll keep going. The Hague Convention on the Protection of Children and Cooperation with the Respect of the Inter-Country Adoptions was signed by the United States in 1994 and went into effect on 2008. It applies to adoptions adoptions by U.S. citizens, little c, of children who are usually residents of a country that is also part or party to the treaty. So let me just clarify again. Each state is a nation state, and each state would be considered a country. And you can look this up on the Secretary of State website. And then the specific information about this Hague Convention, as far as in the U.S., it is here, right here, the Department of State.gov. See, this is about jurisdiction. I am not understanding why I would have to have something annexed to be used outside of a jurisdiction when, in the case that I was just sharing, I placed it on the corporate county record. Okay, it's a corporate instrument. It just is. It's issued by the state, and they created it, and so they have legal title. And I made a claim to the beneficial. If anyone had to authenticate that it is what it is, that the certificate is what the certificate is, it would be the one claiming ownership to say, hey, my individual entity is the owner of this security instrument, the certificate of live birth. I mean, how can someone else who doesn't know me at the Department of State verify that it is the instrument that actually belongs to the sender? They can't really do that. They can verify at the Department of State, it can be verified that the state of state signatures are correct and it is a genuine document. All right. And that's being done for an entity outside of the Hague Convention, while you have it authenticated at a non-Hague country. So I can see actually how it might cause a shift in the market to have it authenticated and then not using it for the circulation of currency, not using it to redeem the securities outside of the US, right? So let's say I had it authenticated in Taiwan. I didn't, but let's just say I was going to have it authenticated in Taiwan. I could then use that to acquire assets in Taiwan, right? So this is why you have it annexed, so you can use the coupon in another jurisdiction. All right, so I just wanted to share that, and I'm really appreciating the teachings that people have, and they're telling why they're doing their different processes, and that's fine, and I respect them, and I've learned so much from them. But instead of just following one person blindly, down the road, it's important that you be able to read for yourself and use your analytical skills when it comes to why you do what you do, especially if you have a little bit of challenges on your path. You can't just allow yourself to be stuck and not move forward, right? You have to move out on faith, and that faith should be based on some type of knowledge, and you want to have good analytical skills. All right. So I just wanted to share with you my understanding of jurisdiction. Oh, and then back to the military annex buildings. When you see a building, it's annex number whatever, annex number 1 or annex A or annex B. So it is right there on the premises, right? It's still right there on the premises, but it's just separate from the main building. Okay, that's what an annex is. So when you're having the certificate be authenticated and then it's going to give you an annex number, it's not just like free and clear, whatever, out there on its own. No, it's still a part of the whole in a sense, just moved away from the main building, moved away from that U.S. entity, but still a relationship there between it. Okay. Let's see another aspect of it I just want to share. If your individual entity, last name, first name, is the beneficial owner of that coupon, right, that you're going to redeem or what have you, just know that each one that you have that you order has a separate number. They don't all have the same number. I don't know if you've ever had a driver's license replaced or anything like that. You'll notice, well, I know that in one jurisdiction that I've had this done, I'm not currently the holder of an active driver's license. But even if I were, right, I don't have to use that as my identification all the time in commerce. It is okay to be a holder of an instrument and not always present it. Now, is it safe always to do that? Is that safe? No, because in certain jurisdictions, policy enforcers don't know the de jure law, right? And the de jure law is that you must have an affidavit of someone that has been harmed, and it must be a warrant along with this when you're detaining people, or then it's false imprisonment. And there is even a treatise on that, on probably on the, I think I saw it on the Maryland website, is like a treatise on false imprisonment. And so if someone just is a policy enforcer, police officer, is just detaining you for something like, let's say your back tail light is out, and then they want to search your car and they want to get your ID and all that kind of thing, that is actually false imprisonment. Okay, because if you ask if you're free to go and they tell you no, you're not free to go, that would be false imprisonment. You were detained against your will. And so the more we hold our public officials to the law, right, we have a right to travel, but you don't want to present yourself in a way that's going to give you problems because they don't know what you're talking about. So it would be best to have a international driving permit along with the foreign license as one of the things that you do if you prefer the right to travel responsibly. You're not technically traveling, right? You're quote unquote meeting the qualifications to be a driver. But if that's safe, it's what makes sense. And so just kind of wanting to speak out against people just giving up their driver's license and not having anything other than a national identity card. Because have you noticed the pattern of people being detained, arrested, kidnapped, whatever you want to call it, right? And another option too is to whatever automobile that you're traveling in, whatever conveyance you have, to register the trust with the state. And then many states, they'll tell you, no, we're not going to tax you. No, we're not going to continue to put fees upon you. And then that could be connected to your injunction. And then you can travel peacefully. I think that's the point. The point, I don't think, is to just say, I'm not gonna give you, I don't have to. No, that's not the point. The point is to live in peace and to live in harmony, right? With those around you and having order. And then another good thing about registering your trust is if you live in a jurisdiction where they are snatching the vehicles that are not registered or snatching the automobiles that are not registered. If you have a private plate, they run your VIN and they find out that your automobile isn't registered. Don't think that it won't get picked up and stolen, because I know of more than one, I will say, avoiding the word person, right? That's had their conveyances taken, right? And the pattern, the theme was they weren't registered. And the policy enforcers, aka police, refused to give a police report. All right. So when you have all this together, and this is a pattern, when you talk to different people about what they've experienced, you come to the conclusion to do what's safest. And I don't see any drawbacks really from registering your car or your conveyance, better said, in a trust. I don't understand. You're not giving up any right to taxation. You're helping keep order to our system. There's nothing wrong with order, right? Order is a good thing. Rules are a good thing. It's when our God-given rights are trampled upon that it's not a good thing. All right. But we can have order and have peace all at the same time. All right. And so I just want to share that with you. Hope that's helpful to someone. All right. Peace.